All right, this is page 1 of your notes. So I'm going to, So page 1 of your notes, we're going to learn about positive and negative numbers and working with them and dealing with them. And this gives kids a lot of problems as they get older. I sometimes think teachers go too fast through this. And so I can't see your face, so I might be boring you. But I really want to make sure you understand this because you have to understand positive and negative numbers. Okay, so positive numbers, I'm just going to make them blue. Positive numbers is everything that's bigger than 0. Okay, these are my positive numbers. So positive numbers are greater than 0. Okay. Negative numbers are less than 0. So that's these numbers here. These are my negative numbers. These are less than 0. And this is, I think, your first time because I asked you the other day kind of working with positive and negatives. Okay. So this is going to be your first time really getting into this stuff. And I guess the better we can learn it, the better off you're going to be. So let's just kind of go from here. 0 is right here in the middle. If you notice there's a line there, that's because it's neither positive or negative. It's neither of them. Okay, it's its own. So you can be positive, you can be negative, or you can be 0. Opposites are two numbers that are the same distance from 0. For example, like a -5 and a +5 are what's considered opposites. So if I go right here to a -5 and I go right here to a +5, I am the same distance to 0. Okay, I'm 5 away from 0. 1 is 5 to the right, so positive numbers are to the right of 0. Negative numbers are to the left of 0. All right? So this is going to be important as we move along. So integers. The definition of an integer is a whole number and their opposites. So whole numbers start with 0. And it's 1, 2, 3, 4, ... Well, if I do their opposites, then it would be all of these. So that is what an integer is, ... It's all of your whole numbers and their opposite. Okay, so understanding the opposite, the same distance, is really important. So what's the opposite of 17 is a -17. The opposite of a -9 is a +9. I would like you to pause the video and I would like you to do 3, 4, 5, and 6. Pause and do those ones, please. Okay, the opposite of 24 is a -24, a +140, a +31, and a +58. Okay, so we are going to work on using the number line and understanding how to use the number line. So if I ask you to graph 5, -5, you're going to put a -5 in the middle. To the right of a -5 are the numbers that are bigger. So those are the ones that are getting closer to 0. -4, -3, -2. To the left are the ones that are smaller. Now, I get in a lot of arguments with kids about, well, how is a -4 bigger than a -5? Well, because it's closer to 0 in the negative. So you got to think about this. It's more to the right. Okay, these are my bigger numbers. You would rather owe me $4 than owe me $5, right? So that negative number is, the smaller the negative number is, it actually is bigger because it's getting closer to 0. Okay, so then you would do the same thing here for 2. 2 is going to be in the middle, and then you're going to move the numbers to the right of 2. And the numbers to the left of 2. So this would be a -1. Okay. So I would like you to pause the video and I would like you to do 9, 10, and 11. So a -11 would be in the middle. So getting closer to 0 to the right would be these numbers. So they're bigger than a negative 11. And then going to the left are going to be these numbers. So they're smaller than a negative 11. Okay, then you have a negative 34. So this is a negative 33, negative 32, negative 31. And then the smaller, this would be negative 35, negative 36, negative 37. And then my last one, the negative 52 would go in the middle. So this is negative 51. Oops, can't count. Negative 50, negative 49. They're getting closer to 0. Negative 53, negative 54, negative 55. So it's really kind of hard for kids to understand that negative 49 is bigger than a negative 52. It's to the right of 52. And so that's going to be something that is kind of important as we go. Okay, so now we're going to go in here. So you're going to read these situations and represent them with an integer. So some of them will be positive and some of them will be negative. So we're going to do this first column here. We're going to do these ones. So a 13-foot incline, that means I'm going up. So my answer would be 13. 8 feet above sea level is going to be positive. But a 42-foot drop is going to be a negative because you're going down. And if you're in debt $120, you're going to have a negative in front of that. And a 21-day extension. And this is where, as you're doing your homework, if you're getting stuck, go ahead and find those words and ask one of your parents or your sister, ask and say, does this mean positive or negative? If you get an extension, you get extra time. You get time added. So that's going to be a positive. But sometimes the words they use can be confusing. So if you need to ask somebody the definition of them, please do. All right, so what I would like you to do right now is pause the video and I would like you to do this column. All right, so you know me, I like my different colors. 16 below, so the word that's tipping you off is this below, so it's going to be a negative. Again, deposit might not be a word that you know. So if you have to ask somebody what's the definition of deposit, does it mean you're adding or you're taking away? Deposit means you're going to go to the bank and you're going to add money to your account. So that's going to be $75. Okay, a 28-pound gain, you're adding 28 pounds. A $15 discount means that you're losing. And a 900-foot descent means that you're losing. You're going down 900 feet. Okay? So, on these next ones, you may have to make a number line to help you see it. But if I made a number line, you don't have to make it, but I'm just going to kind of go over this. My positive number would be here. My negative number would be here. So that means the positive number to the right, it's greater. 0 is to the right of a negative 9, so it's greater. A positive number is to the right of a negative number, so it's greater. But this one is where this number line that we did might help you. So if you have a negative 48, then this would be a negative 49, negative 50, negative 51, negative 52. Negative 48 is to the right, so it's actually bigger. Okay, I would like you to pause the video and I would like you to do these 4. So negative 4 is to the right, so that's greater. This one is kind of tricky. So some kids, if I were to draw it, negative 35, negative 36, negative 37, negative 38, negative 35 is to the right, so it's actually bigger. On this one, 15 is positive, so it's bigger. And on this one, negative 1 is to the right, so it's bigger. Okay. And then you're going on ordering. Okay. So I'm going to order these. So the smallest is going to be the one farthest from 0 on the left, which is a negative 18, then a negative 7, then a negative 4, and then 3, and then 16. The biggest is going to be farthest to 0 to the right. The smallest is going to be the farthest from 0 to the left. So the farthest from 0 to the left is going to be a negative 39. And then you would have a negative 24, and then a negative 12, and then 20, and then 24. Okay? And then finally, I would like you to work these two. Try and pause the video and work them. Okay. So the farthest to the left would be a negative 64, then a negative 57, negative 32, 0, and 9. And then this would be a negative 24, negative 13, negative 8, negative 3, negative 1. Okay. So in the past, we're doing number 34. In the past 5 days, the stock market has gained 40 points. So that's 40. It's lost 32 points, lost 15 points, lost 6 points, and gained 7 points. Write these as integer values and order them from least to greatest. So the least is going to be the farthest to the left, which is a negative 32, and then a negative 15, negative 6, and 7, and 40. So that would be my least to greatest. All right, so finally, we're going to talk about an absolute value. An absolute value is the distance to 0. Okay, so if I come way back up here, right, if I did the absolute value of a negative 5, how far is that if I walked? It's 5. And if I do the absolute value of a positive 5, it's also 5. So one way to look at absolute values is they make all your numbers positive. Okay, so it makes the number positive, makes the number positive. Okay, so the absolute value of 2 is 2. The absolute value of negative 6 is just 6. The absolute value of a negative 21 is a positive 21. So I would like you to pause the video, and I would like you to do those 3. The absolute value of 95 is 95. The absolute value of 0 is 0. And a negative 47 is a positive 47. Okay, so this is just kind of starting to deal with positive and negative numbers.